Plot twist. We switched seats.
Have I been here the whole time?
You've been here the whole time.
Am I Michael this whole time?
You don't want that.
Are
you don't
we-
want that burden.
Is this a real Tyler Durden narrator situation?
No, this is more like a switched bodies type.
Oh,
plot
well,
twist.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah. This is a list that I've curated and have not told JED about, so he's getting a little twist himself.
Yeah.
But I tried to design this list, some old, some new.
Yeah.
I didn't go for the obvious ones.
What about good and bad? Are there some good, some bad?
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. There's one that has been spoiled so much that people forgot that it was even a plot twist. You know it.
Okay.
But let's get started.
Okay.
Let's
I'm ready.
stay in the present.
Okay.
Well, it was in the past, actually, because everything's in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But Barbarian, which came out in 2022.
Ooh, yes.
Look, before I get started, before we even go into stuff, we're spoiling all these movies. If you've not seen any of them, I'm sorry.
Sorry, you're just turn the video off. You probably already have anyways.
Yeah. If you don't know,
yeah,
this lady goes to an Airbnb in Detroit.
Yeah.
And it's a really shady area.
Yeah.
But still she goes. And one of the Skarsgårds is in there.
Bill, I believe. William.
And she decides to stay the night.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, it's going to go this way. No, there's a hidden dungeon underneath with a huge mama baby.
Yeah, a mama baby. Ooh, that's a great description. There's just a moment, maybe right in the middle of the movie, that it's like, it's really intense. It's very dark.
Yeah.
And then the reveal of, because it is probably the only twist.
Yes.
But the reveal is there's like a crazy monster living underneath there and kills Bill. Yeah. and then we smash cut to Justin Long singing in the sunshine. It is so good.
It does the From Dusk Till Dawn stuff in a new era with a new twist. Yeah. Still fun, still scary. Yeah. Not as wild as From Dusk Till Dawn in like tonal shift.
Yes, yeah.
But it is still wild.
Yeah. And really From Dusk Until Dawn kind of, you're starting to figure it out. You're like, there's something weird, and it's not stretched out, but you're like, huh, interesting. Yeah. Barbarian's like, ah! And then
it is wild because it goes like into the backstory of the mama baby. Yeah. I know it has an official name in the credits or whatever.
Mama, maybe.
Mama, but I like calling it mama baby.
Yeah.
But there's a couple scenes in here that I will not spoil that are just like the weirdest, craziest things you've probably seen.
It's really good. I've been meaning to revisit it because it was maybe like 2022 was such a good year for horror anyways.
It was,
it was a lot of fun.
Next one's an Oscar winner.
Okay.
Parasite, which has like, I think maybe like 2 or 3 twists in it. Yeah. One that you kind of see coming, so it's not that much of a twist. But obviously, if you don't know anything about Parasite, it's this Korean family who's very poor. They decide to basically infiltrate a rich family. Their way in, and they become like the maids, sort of. Yeah. But then you find out the previous maid is living, another underground little thing, living in the house with her husband. Yeah. And things unfold from there. There's another twist, not going to reveal that one.
Well, because you think you're really watching, like, just for lack of a better example, like an Ocean's 11 style, like, very, like there's a con, there's like a whole plot, they play it out very much like that, and then they kind of succeed in what they're doing, and then it just like
it unfolds even further,
and it like really kind of it's not a horror movie, but like the back half does feel a little, there's maybe like a 10 to 15 minute chunk where you're like, I'm creeped out, I'm terrified. It is really good.
And South Korea deals with the same problem America deals with, in that, you know, the social structure is like the rich are rich and the poor are poor. Yeah. And it's really hard to convey, like, it's hard to convey sometimes in an international movie, the social politics of it. But since America and Korea have sort of the same issues, sometimes it makes it very easy to get into the movie. So when the reveal happens, you're not expecting it because you think it's going to be just this social political like thriller kind of. And then it's like, no, this is kind of a horror movie.
Yeah, but it also still then goes on to add to that conversation.
Yeah,
too,
and it's funny. It's really funny too.
It is a wild ride of just like, the descent into madness, but then also goofiness.
We're going back to 2003 for Identity.
Ooh.
Which
I was wondering if this is going to be on there.
We've talked about it a little bit, but I've cut it out of videos because that wasn't the main point of the video or whatever. But if you don't know what Identity is, I don't want to spoil it because of how fun it is.
Yeah.
It's not like, you're not going to be like, oh, this is the greatest movie ever, but it's a really fun twist. Yeah. It's not a hotel, it's a motel, and a guy goes and there's a homicidal killer on the loose at this motel, and people are dying, and John Cusack's trying to figure it out. Turns out he's actually a personality of a kid that's just murdering a bunch of people.
Yeah. Well,
kind of.
It's not even a kid. So the whole thing is that they're all personalities.
Yes.
This is kind of like in a mind palace.
Yeah.
And there is a killer who's played by like an actor. Is it the guy who's going to be the new Pa Kent? I can't remember. Maybe he's in Constantine, right? Is that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so there's a moment in the movie where it kind of all unfolds, and then it becomes, well, who is like the killer? Like it becomes,
who is the real personality?
There's like
the killer,
two twists. It's like, hey, there is this twist of it's all in this one person's head, but then which one is the killer personality?
Which one's the actual one? Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun. It is one that relies on the twist, but also it's one that it like a Sixth Sense. You go back and watch it, and you're like, okay, well, there, like he's not talking to her there. This one is like there's none of that because it is just the imagination of it is. It works out.
Yeah.
So.
And it's raining almost the entire movie.
Yeah, the vibes are
I've never
awesome.
seen a movie with so much rain other than The Matrix.
Yeah, and this is a movie I remember seeing the preview for, like on DVDs a lot.
Yeah.
Freaked me out.
Let's stay in the 2000s. I want to talk about Atonement.
Okay, yeah.
Which is like, you don't even think this movie's going to have a twist.
Yeah, that maybe, like, because it's based on a book.
It's based on a book, which has, I guess, the twist.
Yeah.
But it reads in a way that doesn't. Yeah. If you never read the book, you wouldn't know. You just think, oh, this is going to be a World War II movie. Yeah. It has directed by Joe Wright, is like the movie that made him. But it has Keira Knightley, James McAvoy, and Saoirse Ronan in her first role, I think, or close to.
Close to, yeah.
Saoirse's character witnesses James McAvoy and Keira having sex, and she sees it, and then assumes. Well, she makes up in her brain that it's an assault.
Yeah.
And basically ruins this guy's life. He goes off to World War II. They end up reconnecting later in life. They get an apartment together. She's a bit older and tries to amend it. You later find out this is all just fiction. Yeah. She made it all in her head to sort of like forgive herself for making up this lie and ruining his life. He actually dies in the war.
And then
she dies in the war as well. Keira Knightley's character does.
Yeah.
It's just a very sad movie of like this one bad thing you did as a kid ruined everybody's life, even your own.
Yeah.
And Vanessa Redgrave, I think, plays the older version of Saoirse.
I think so. Sounds right.
But Vanessa Redgrave is like, she could be in a movie for 5 minutes. You're like, that's the best acting I've ever seen in my life.
It is a good movie. It's a tough movie.
It's a slow burn too. If you like fast movies, don't watch this one.
There have been some egregious ones, but this one may be the strangest. Like, there's a twist. You know. Yeah. I guess fans of the book knew. Do you think that fans of the book, when they were reading the book, were like,
Maybe. I don't. I've read books with twists in them, and I've never been like, oh. Yeah. I just been like, oh. Yeah. They set that up really well.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Whereas a movie, you're supposed to be shocked.
Or like, do you think they really spell it out?
Like, I don't know. I kind of want to read the book now. Now let's go to the one that JD knows about. Maybe. The Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, never heard of it.
But at the time, this was a huge plot twist.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is Luke's dad.
Yeah.
Which everyone misquotes, but that's okay. But we grew up as kids, everything referenced this.
Yeah.
So to us, it was not a plot twist whatsoever.
Not even just a plot twist, but just how to set up a story.
Yeah.
That like it becomes almost like people teach about this. They talk, when you're building a world, and how, even you go back in the first one and it is very like, they do such a great job, because I think Lucas had it all in his head ready to go, but like
he didn't know how he wanted to execute it till the second movie.
But in the first one, you have all the talk of like, yeah, your father, he was in the Clone Wars. I thought was in the Clone, and there's never like, and you can now going back, you can see that. I wonder if like Alec Guinness knew, because the way he plays it a little bit is very much. Maybe I'm just more reading into it, but like,
well, I think. Although the prequel movies are not great, they do a really good job at improving the fourth movie and the fifth movie. And I guess that's what those three movies were designed to do, is make 4, 5, and 6 better.
To talk about trade federations.
Yeah, exactly.
But I saw it so young that
it probably
blew my mind, or I just did not understand. Eleanor's kind of into Star Wars right now, and so she's seen the New Hope and she's seen like Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But like, what do you like? How do you preserve that moment? You just almost can't. You know?
Well, it's as long as you don't tell your kid, it's fine. But I think when I saw it as a kid, I already knew Darth Vader was Luke's dad. But what I didn't know was that they were going to kill Han basically at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And so for me as a kid, this is my favorite one. It like that plot twist.
Like when he's like
when they freeze him in carbonite, because Harrison was like, you know what, I'm tired of this sci-fi crap.
Just put me to sleep.
Yeah, which wasn't, obviously they paid him more money and came back. Empire Strikes Back, it has this cultural twist that was ruined by the culture just because of how monumental it was. Yeah. Twists weren't a new idea. Hitchcock was doing it forever. Orson Welles did it in Citizen Kane.
For a good twist to work, like Empire does, it has to do like three things. It has to change like the philosophical view, it has to change like the story, and it has to, and for that moment to be like the good guy or the bad guy used to be a good guy, but is also connected to our hero. It's like it really does. It is a full twist, if not just like it changes everything. It changes the first movie. It changes how like Luke's going to move forward. It
also changes Luke's whole journey up to that point was to defeat Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And then he's like, wait, hold on a second. Yeah. This is Jerry Springer. You can't do this to me. Yeah. You can't spring this on me. So now, let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan in general, because he is the one director that everyone has decided he can only do twists.
It's almost like so outrageous that it's like, nope, this was this the whole time. It's like a twist, but it is a twist that has almost no connection to anything.
But
hey, pharmaceutical company.
But that's what the audience wants from him, unfortunately. Yeah. He can make great movies. Like Unbreakable is like obvious. Yeah. Sixth Sense is obvious.
Yeah.
They are great movies. Then he does like The Village and Lady in the Water, where he's forcing himself into doing a twist. And then you get Old, where it has a twist, but it's not even really that interesting.
I think we've now got two types of twists. It's like you have a split twist where the twist is, oh, this was actually part of something bigger. But then you have like your old twist where you are, which I think like maybe like another, or like Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, it's not like this changes everything for a character. It is just like, hey, isn't this kind of crazy?
Yeah. Well, Knock at the Cabin is interesting because it's like, I guess it's based on a book as well. They changed the way it's done, but I think Knock at the Cabin is one of those movies where it's like, it's so well acted that you're willing to forgive some of the stuff they do, that M. Night chooses to do in the movie, because Dave Bautista and the kid and
Jonathan Groff, right?
Jonathan Groff and the other guy, the couple, the way they play the movie, and Rupert Grint, the way they play and act in it, you're just like, okay, I like this movie just because they're acting well.
I feel bad for him because we've done this to him,
But at the same time, he doesn't mind doing them. So, and there was a certain point where he sort of rejected it in the same way that actors reject doing certain roles. Yeah. Like Harrison Ford decided that he was done with sci-fi for a little bit. He also has produced cool twist movies like Devil.
Listen, because when you were setting this list up, I was like, man, I was just looking through it, and Devil is so underrated of a movie to me that like the twist really is cool. Like, it is like it's just neat. I love I love a good like we're all in the same spot.
Yeah.
But it is. I remember seeing that in theaters and being like, you know what?
It's good.
Kind of nailed it, and it becomes so much like the DNA of it feels so much Shyamalan that people were like, oh, you know, the Shyamalan movie. It's like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, you know?
I really like how he plays with the Christian idea of stuff. Like in Signs, it's like very much a Christian movie, but it's not at all in any way whatsoever.
It's like aliens are like the opposite. Yeah.
It's just the setup to a bigger story. So I like that he plays with religion in that way. So in Old, in a way, I mean, it's got sort of some allegory to religion too.
The beach that makes you old.
It's the beach that makes you old. But yeah, that's our list.
Yeah.
I don't have any more twists.
Listen, I've got one that we've talked about. There's a twist, yeah. I don't know, maybe you've read about it, but there's a movie called Serenity. Maybe the most bonkers twist of all time.
Yeah, try to explain it.
I'll try. Okay, so Serenity has Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway and Jason Clarke. Anne is married to Jason. Jason, I guess, kind of a trash dude. Mm-hmm. And hires Matt to kill her husband. Then they're like caught up in some affair.
Yeah.
After this all plays out,
there's a kid involved.
There's a kid involved as well. After this all plays out, this like very real drama story, it goes. You find out that Matthew McConaughey is a video game character.
Yes.
Created by that's kind of like a virtual version of this kid's dad in real life. Mm-hmm. The kid's dad has died.
Yes.
And Jason Clarke is supposed to represent the like stepdad or boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Anne Hathaway's his mom. And then the boy, so he's created this video game where all this plays out. And I think, does he not kill the kid does?
Yeah.
I just don't understand that it's like, it's a movie that does not need a twist.
No.
And they're like, hey.
But it's perfect. I wouldn't want this movie any other way.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's so bonkers that you're just like, you know what? I'll give you some grace.
Yeah. I would love to have been in a theater.
Oh, yeah.
Just.
Because this failed at the box office.
I would have been sitting by myself. But if maybe like there were like two other people in there, and then I would have just asked them afterwards, like, crazy.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm okay with more movies just doing insane things.
Just having a twist. Yeah. We need more movies with twists. You know?
There's not enough. Well,
I think we've talked about all of them. Yeah. They've talked. Every list you look up, like overrated, underrated, best, worst. It's all the same lists.
The Departed.
Glad you brought it up. What's the real twist of The Departed, do you think?
I think the real twist of The Departed is that I want to call him Whitey Bulger, but he's not.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's character was the insider.
I think that's the real twist. I don't care about who died or who gets. I mean, it's an incredible movie. I don't like. Oh, the twist. Mark Wahlberg was there to shoot him. He could have. I'm like, no. The twist is that like, and it just breezed over so quickly that like Jack Nicholson was the rat the whole time.
Yeah.
There were 2 rats.
So many rats. In the Mafia, there's always more than one rat.
I know.